I spent 10 years chasing music success, thinking talent, connections, and hustle were the key. And I was wrong. It was the one thing that I had been avoiding for years: failing. Every rejection, every empty show, every bad review, data points, not defeats. And here's what no one tells you: perfectionists fail the least, but also grow the slowest. If you're waiting until something's flawless, you're already behind. Today, I'm breaking down the 3 biggest lessons failure taught me in my music career over the last 10 years. Lessons that have completely changed my perspective, and I'm hoping that they'll do the same for you and potentially save you a few years of frustration. Welcome back. I'm Manish, MIT class president turned hip hop artist. And on this channel, we help independent artists level up their music careers by teaching them mindset, business, and creative strategies. I started this channel to help you avoid some of the same pitfalls that I faced in my journey, and these 3 lessons from failure that I've learned are some of the most valuable. Let's dive in. Lesson 1: fail fast to find your unique voice. Early on, I tried to copy what was popular and I tried to fit in because I thought that was the way to go. And the truth is, the best way to find your voice along the way is to fail a lot. And fail a lot I did. Every awkward track, every failed performance, every time my voice didn't sound good in the mix, it got me closer and closer to finding my authentic voice. And each time the engineer or the person in the room on the other side was like, nah, don't do that. It was like, okay, cool. I'm one step closer to finding the voice that actually works for me in the long term, in terms of how I want to deliver my messages, in terms of how I want to rap, and in terms of how I want the audience to feel my performance. Failing fast isn't inevitable. It's the shortcut to finding what you and only you can bring to the table. My vocal tone has drastically changed over the last 10 years or so, and I want to take you on that journey to show you what that evolution was like and where we started, where we are now, and all of the stuff in between. This is what I sounded like in 2015.
1% matter and the rest is mental. Basic steps you take, incremental. My teacher in junior high taught me government. He says see the big picture, not Democrats versus Republicans.
This is what I sounded like in 2017.
Skipped on April like the showers hurt. Umbrella got moist like a mini skirt. He a nerd, I said my piece. ABCD with the Bombay heat. Tsunami grow, it came to shore. Not ready for more of that brown boy flow.
This is what I sounded like in 2019.
I'm in the kitchen with tandoori chicken. Amita Bachchan on TV, she listens. Sister religious, she worshiping Christian. Dad in the study, he taught me ambition. Pani Puri, I'm diving in. Hindustani, I'm disciplined. Karma, please begin again. Hum pyramid lenge ek din.
This is what I sounded like in 2021.
Punjabi, I know you love to party. Serenade her good so I can give her a gulabi. 2-piece lenga, 4-door Gotti. Met her in New Delhi, now we hang in Abu Dhabi.
This is what I sounded like in 2023.
Chapstick on your lips, I taste it every time that we kiss. Your hands on the back of my neck, I imagine feeling high cause I'm fly like Aladdin. You're my jasmine, the world is our oyster. Now we getting boisterous, hard to keep an inside voice when the joy hits.
And finally, this is what I sound like now in 2025.
Peng Chao Kong, I'm a Mahjong warlord, more GB, and you more like Al Gore, Tommy Shelby, you know I'm running the show. When I see Med Coco, concoction was loco. Chen Chow, real ones like G and lasagna. 90s throwback with a twist like Madonna. Swimming for freedom and dodging piranhas. Andrew and Ben redefining Ohana.
I failed so many times writing hundreds and hundreds of songs that each time that I did that, it was an iterative exercise that moved me closer and closer and closer to that end point of eventually finding my vocal tone and my voice. And here's the thing, I'm 10 years into my journey, and the beauty of music is it's something you can never fully master, and so it's a forever ongoing process. And the beauty of it is, as you iterate and as you get better, you for sure hear the difference. I'm grateful for how far I've come in the journey, and I'm excited for what else I intend to do in the future. That 10,000 hour principle is so true, because over time I've been able to hear how I've evolved, and it's because I put the work in. And when you put the work in, it shows over time, and people can hear it. Put your 10,000 hours in, and I guarantee you will find your authentic voice. You may not take 10,000 hours, but you should allot yourself 10,000 hours. And if you have fun in the process and you do it for the love, you'll find your voice anyways. Jack Harlow is a great example of an artist that has evolved over time and has used failure to find his authentic voice. Listen to his vocal tone back in, when he put out 18. I think that was like 7-8 years ago in 2017 or something. And you can hear like Got Me Thinking, Ice Cream, very different vocal tone than 2025 when, he's put out Jackman, he's put out Come Home the Kids Miss You, stuff like that, where you could really hear the evolution in his sound. And he's taken that time to fail, to go back to the drawing board and to repivot. So Jack Harlow and I have the same birthday. That's probably why I feel like I'm tied to the hip with him in terms of the journey that he's had. I've had a similar journey. A lot of critical feedback early on. Use that as feedback to improve and a loop to basically say, all right, I'm going to be better here. I'm going to be better here. And over time, he's evolved into this artist where he's comfortable with his vocal tone. He's building his fan base, and you can tell that he's put that work in to use failure as a way to find his authentic self. And I feel like I've done that as well, and you can hear it. And using that principle, I'm not saying that you too can blow up, but if you continue to go on that upward trend and spend the time to fail and find yourself, I guarantee you'll be in a better place than you were before. With that said, use failure as an opportunity to carve out your own niche in the music industry, and I guarantee you'll be headed on a path towards success, but more importantly, towards excellence. Lesson 2. Mistakes reveal what really resonates. For years, I thought that skill alone would make people care about my music, but from acting and performing, I've realized over the years that people care about meaning and emotion rather than about perfection. Each failure along the way has shown me what hits, what flops, and what really resonates with people, what moves people. Your mistakes aren't setbacks, they're your feedback loop. It tells you what to amplify, what to scrap, and how to grow your music career. In fact, some of my best music came from making mistakes and taking L's and turning them into W's. As an example, early on in my music career, I received feedback that I was rapping too fast and I needed to slow down my verses. So I made songs like Healing, like Girls vs. Goals, and of course people really resonated with those two because it had meaning and it had purpose behind it instead of just fast rapping a bunch of words that really didn't make sense. Then I got feedback that I needed to be more culturally authentic to who I was as a person. And I was like, okay, fine. But I really wanted to make these songs, Baga, Chennai Chase Down, American Mumbai, songs that resonated with who I was growing up in an Indian American community. Those songs really took off with my audience because I think it showed a unique angle that people hadn't seen before that was authentically me. Then I got feedback that my music wasn't mainstream enough, that I didn't know how to write hooks. I was like, okay, fine, guys. I made Sea of Belief, I made Atlanta, both of which became huge hits, some of my most popular songs. I feel like when people look me up on Spotify or on YouTube, they usually find Sea of Belief or they find Atlanta and they're like, oh, I heard your new song in Atlanta, Sea of Belief, super catchy. And I feel like that's the song that usually gets people into sort of listening to more of my catalog. So that was a good way for me to sort of test and see, can I make songs for the global masses? Can I make hits? Can I make songs that have viral hooks and, catchy lyrics? Which I learned the answer is yes. I just have to keep rinsing and repeating on that to continue to get better there. Then I got feedback from people that were like, oh, well, you're a smart dude. Like, you should lean into your intellectual side. You don't need to dumb down your lyrics. I was like, okay, well, I thought I was already doing that. Then I leaned into it more because I love math and I love Harry Potter and I love basketball. I took it as a challenge and I made songs like Pressure, where I talked more about math equations. I made songs like Slytherin, where I dove into some of the metaphors around Harry Potter lyricism and wordplay, and I have more music coming imminently that has a lot of intellectual lyrics and intellectual metaphors about who I am and how I think about things. Each of these challenges and feedback along the way were like checkpoints for me to be able to be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try that. Failure is a mechanism to show what really resonates with the audience and how you can further improve, how you can deepen your bag, how you can get better just overall as a hip-hop artist, right? I can add all of these tools and skills in my tool belt, and it's gonna make me just a more multi-dimensional hip-hop artist. And whether I realize it along the way, all these mistakes that I made helped me define my music brand and the themes of things that I wanted to talk about in my music. For example, I made more cultural songs that were about my Indian heritage. I made more niche songs that were about my intellectual, my introspective, and my motivational side. I made more romantic songs that were more mainstream. The main themes that appeared in my music today were a result of the feedback that I directly got from my audience in terms of things that I could improve, and it helped me build a formula for, all right, these 4 themes of music resonate: romantic, cultural, introspective, motivational. I'm gonna make more songs like that, and I'm gonna cater to each of these audiences because each of them provides me with feedback to help me understand where can my superpower of writing songs and delivering it to the audience, where can that be best utilized? What types of songs can I write? Failure was an opportunity to help me see what resonated in terms of the music that I wrote, and it was an opportunity for me to help use that as guidelines to build the themes of my music brand in the long term to help me understand this is the type of music that I'm gonna make and this is who Anish is, being in my own niche, no pun intended again. And most importantly, I get messages from people all the time saying, hey, I heard your new song, thank you so much for making that, it really helped me get through a tough time, thanks for making this song, I feel like you were talking to me. And moments like that are what make this whole journey worth it. And as an artist artist example for someone who uses feedback to see what resonates, LaRussell is a great example. I've been to one of his backyard shows, and in his shows, you could see he had been in the game for a minute. You could feel that the music just hits his soul every time he goes on a mic and he raps for the audience. You could feel that he really loves what he does. A lot of it is sort of motivational, a lot of it is just talking about his struggle, what his audience cares about, what he cares about, and what messages he wants to deliver. And over the course of his time in the music industry, he started out making beats, then he learned how to mix and master, and then he learned how to market, then he created his own label. He's done all this stuff from the ground up, and throughout the course of his journey, he's learned what resonated with his audience and what types of music he wants to create. And I would say a lot of his music is, faith-based and just getting people excited to want to go out and do something. And so that motivational undertone of his music and that idea of turning nothing into something is what defines LaRussell's brand. And on his platform, he's created win-win opportunities with his fans to get direct access to him, to buy a part of his catalog. Over the years, because of his failures, LaRussell today has a music label, and he's been able to build a loyal, scalable fan base and build a winning formula for his long-term success because he chose to use failure as an opportunity to understand what resonated with his audience. Lesson 3, failure is a data point for progress, not a defeat. For years, I treated every flop as a personal attack, but the moment that I reframed it as failure is data, everything changed. Every rejected submission, every half-filled venue, every negative comment became a lesson, not a reason to quit music. Resilience became my secret weapon. The failures weren't detours from success, they were the actual path to success. The sooner that you start collecting these failures, the faster that you find your breakthrough. My story is, like every artist, I started making music back in 2015 thinking that I was the greatest rapper alive, and 1 or 2 songs in, I'd blow up. And I was humbled. I'm 10 years in, and I probably have more moments of self-doubt now than I did at the beginning of my journey in 2015. But the irony here is that I've used failure as data points over the years, and while I was humbled by the feedback that I got, I realized how many skills I've developed over the years and how many types of songs that I can now make that I just couldn't do back in 2015. And it's all been for the better. And this is all thanks to using failure as a data point to move forward on the path. Back in 2017, my artist manager, Tim, who, shout out to Tim, he's gonna watch this and laugh. He was like, Anish, your music is bad. And I was like, no, it's not. And now looking back, I realized he was right. My music was terrible. But it was my opportunity to get better. And when he said that back in 2017, ever since he said that, and ever since other people have said that, I've used it as fuel. It's allowed me to make some of the best music that I've made in the last 5 years that I'm excited to share. But more importantly, I used Tim's feedback as a data point to be like, all right, cool. What can I do better for him to come back to me next time and be like, your music is great? That's been my mentality. I used every piece of feedback as a data point, and I think of it like running a marathon. Each checkpoint in the race, 1 mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles, is basically developing a new skill in the process. Maybe mile 1 is, Anish, you suck at rapping, go learn how to rap. Mile 2 was, all right, Anish, now learn how to deliver your raps. Mile 5 was, all right, now learn how to use emotion when you rap. Mile 10 was, all right, learn how to make beats. Mile 15 was, how do you mix your music? Mile 20 is, all right, how do you market and release your music? All right, mile 22 is, how do you do live performances? Each data point along this marathon path has basically been a checkpoint for me to be like, all right, I'm making progress. I'm here now, and I'm here now, and I'm here now. And each data point of feedback has allowed me to run further and further in the marathon. Each time I got critical feedback, I use it as a data point to go back in the lab and to work on my stuff and to make it better and to level up as an artist. And that's what great artists do, and that's what you can do too. If I want to be great, I have to rise to the level that I know I'm capable of instead of being like, no, my stuff's good. Instead of being defensive, I need to start seeing failure as a KPI or as a metric that once I hit it, it's a data point that I've now cleared and I can level myself up for the next piece of feedback or the next data point. Failure being a data point has been a game changer and a cheat code because it's allowed me to go back and retool the process in order to optimize it, in order to continue to level up as an artist. Once I tackled each data point of feedback at a time and I got feedback from a few trusted individuals that, all right, this is good now, you can move on, I would then go to the next area that I needed to improve on in my repertoire. I would fine tune that, I'd master that, and I'd keep moving on slowly but surely so I could level up, deepen my bag in terms of my skill sets and my toolkit of what I can do as a musician. And it's allowed me to just slowly but surely, incrementally improve over the last 10 years. I learned how to rap, then produce, and then mix and master. And in fact, I'm glad I learned all these skills because production and mixing and mastering helped me improve my songwriting when I went back to it, because I had a new lens coming in as a producer versus just only being an artist. And so I was able to reverse engineer a lot of the things that I learned within production and in engineering to better myself as a rapper, and vice versa. The stuff that I learned as a producer and engineer, I was like, well, I can rap like this. Why don't I make beats like this? Why don't I mix the vocals like this? Why don't I tweak my song structure like this? That's the beauty of treating each part of the music process as a data point to optimize and as a bottleneck to eliminate. Here's a song called Bank on It that I recently made. I produced, rapped, and recorded it. It does a good job of combining all of the skills that I've learned over the last decade, such as vocal delivery, production, songwriting, lyricism. And even though I have a long way to go, it's certainly a good data point or checkpoint that I'm on the right path to success and to excellence.
I manifested dreams that come true. Porsche Cayenne with the sunroof. Started from the bottom, see how my funds grew. Wolf of Wall Street, the way this gun shoot. I'm Lewis Hamilton with the top time. Chasing green through all these stop signs. My life's a movie, here's the plot line. The underdog became the top guy. Bank on it, bank on it, bank on it. Put a drink on it. The higher I go, they selling their soul. Competitive, jealous, they cutting my throat. Bank on it, bank on it, bank on it. Put a drink on it. The higher I climb, the harder they fall. I win under pressure, just give me the ball.
Some of the things you hear in the song, like the beat selection, the hook writing, the lyricism, the delivery, the cadences, these are things that I failed at time and time again in the last 10 years. And thankfully, I've been able to iron each of those out, and I'm able to improve them so that now I can cohesively marry them all together in a product like Bank on It. All of these areas that I needed to develop were simply data points that allowed me to level up as an artist, one skill at a time. And these small checkpoints have been great reminders that failure is indeed part of the winning formula for creating a masterpiece. It captures how I put all these data points together and turned L's into W's and failures into wins. The beginning of this journey was very rocky. There was a lot of L's, a lot of ups and downs, but over time, these data points have formed a upward trending line of W's. These are the 3 biggest lessons that failure has taught me over the last 10 years. And if you apply any part of what I said today in your music career, that's a W for me. And more importantly, it's a W for you. You'll save at least a little bit of time, if not years of frustration, and you'll definitely level up faster than you were before. If today's video resonated with you and you want to dive deeper, I put together a video called 5 Things I Wish I Knew When I Started Rapping. It has actionable tips on how to break into the music industry. You can click here to check it out. Thanks for tuning in, and shout out to the Outliers.
This man is going